Happy Friday, guys, and welcome in here to WagerTalk TV for another episode of Puck Time. Of course, I am Andrew McGinnis, and I have Carmine Bianco with me. We have a good Friday show planned for you guys after a jam-packed schedule on Thursday in the National Hockey League. Just 2 games on tap. We have the Flyers, Sabres, and the Devils and the St. Louis Blues going head-to-head. But do not forget about the 6 in 60 segment with Carmine Bianco at the end of the show as well. Some great promotional stuff to mention and all kinds of stuff to get into throughout the show. But Carm, happy Friday, brother. Good to see you.
Andrew, hello everybody. Hope you guys. Thanks for tuning in every single day of the week, guys. Really appreciate it. Only a couple games today, but next week the schedule is so much better. If you look at it, there's 3+ games every single day of the week, including Friday, which has 5 or 6. So we're gonna have a guest on next week. But Andrew, some NHL games, man. We have 2 games, so I know we have to jump to it, and we have the 6 and 60, but. I'm beating myself up over last night over one game and one game specifically because I didn't take it. I talk about sometimes not wanting to get in the way of a streak. Why weren't we on Vancouver yesterday, or were you on Vancouver? Like, is San Jose even a team anymore? What team allows 10 goals in a game and the first 10 goals of the game before they scored a meaningless goal at the end? This team is they're horrible. I don't get it. 10 goals on home ice, and 9 every single game except for one. If you took the puck line for the other team, you've won. I was going to release early in the morning yesterday. Vancouver on the regulation number was 130, and then it went to about 145. And I thought, okay, I got priced out of this. I should have just kept it, taken the puck line as well too. And I'm beating myself up over it because these are plays that clients should have got that were winners, and they didn't. I left them on the cutting room floor. I included a couple plays that should have been on the cutting room floor. So 10 goals. When's the last time you saw a team score 10 goals in the NHL?
Well, especially not when it's the first 10 goals, that's for sure. And you barely ever see 10 goals in general. Carm, do you know what game that was that they didn't cover the puck line? That's the game I had the team total over for
Yes.
Colorado that it didn't win. And that's the thing, is that one thing that we got to learn, or I got to learn, is that if a team bugs you and you lose a game betting against them, it's completely fine to go back again and bet against them again and again and again. Really quick, since you did bring that up, Carm, Ralph Michaels just sent us something. San Jose, 3rd team since 2006 to start the year off winless. So that's pretty impressive. But you know what? It's not the players' fault, Carm. I want to say that. It's not the players' fault, even though they're the ones out there playing. It's the management's fault. That roster is not an NHL caliber roster. That roster would be, I don't know if they'd win the AHL Cup. You know what I mean? Like, it's a really rough roster. But anyway, comment below. Let us know what you guys think about this whole San Jose Sharks situation. Let us know if you're going to keep betting against them, or if you feel like these prices are going to get too out of hand. But Carm, I've noticed something in the NHL so far this year, and I've actually noticed it in the NBA this year as well. A lot of back-to-backs and home-and-homes against the exact same team. And you've got the Buffalo Sabres, the Philadelphia Flyers, some teams that have played each other recently, and you see it a lot in other sports right now where you're trying to get these rivalries going. What do you have for us in this one with your Buffalo Sabres?
This is a weird one, and I think Brian touched on this one the other day with regards to this game. This is the one where the Sabres had 15 shots on goal in that game. 15 shots, that's it. Outshot 40 to 15 and won the game 5-2. If you're an NHL bettor, this is why you end up looking like me, completely bald, because you're pulling your hair out. As a team, have 15 shots on goal and score 5, and the other team has 40 and only scored 2 on home ice. So it's frustrating, but I had the over in that game, so I was happy that it got there. But I'm going the same way. I think it's um, um, a better performance by the Sabres on home ice. They've won 3 of their last 4 games, and even the game that they lost was a 5-4 loss to the New Jersey Devils. So the team is scoring. You look at the Sabres, 5 last game, 4 the game before in beating Colorado 4-0 on the weekend. Score a 4 against the Devils. Everyone's scoring against the Devils, but then Devils are outscoring a lot of teams, and then 6 against the Ottawa Senators. So the team is scoring goals, and that's what you need if you're going to take an over. The over here is at 6.5 minus 130. Now, here's an interesting thing I just want to mention to you guys. When you see these totals, and they're like 6.5 minus 130, 135, if you can live bet these games, all you need to do, because I've watched yesterday and I watched for most of this week, the betting numbers in the games, the live numbers, and the 6.5 minus 130s 2 minutes into the game are down to 6.5 minus 115. You're literally saving 15 cents of juice. The only caveat, or the only thing, the cautious sign there, is that if a goal is scored in the first 2 minutes of the game, you've missed out on the over, because that number now goes to 7.5. But if you don't get a goal within the first couple of minutes of the game, you're saving juice. And long term, it is so much better, especially on totals, to save any vig you can save. So I'm taking the over here. Um, but I'm going to bet the game in game. I'm going to give it a couple minutes, and I'm going to click on the 115, 6.5, and take the over.
You know, Carm, when you get these adjustments for the live totals, it's crazy how in like 1 to 2 minutes, as you're talking about there, and even 5 minutes into a game, you can get a 6 out of 5.5 and things like that. The live betting market in the NHL is a market that I think more people should look at. People love to bet live NFL, bet live NBA, but I know it's a money line sport, but the fact of the matter is there's so much overreaction in the marketplace when a favorite goes down 1 goal or a total is off to a slow start. Realistically, I'd say the time where you see the fewest goals in the NHL is probably the first 5 to 6 minutes of a game, right? The feel out process, each player's getting out there, getting their first shift. If you go the first 6, 7 minutes without a goal, all of a sudden you can jump in on that market correction. You can jump in on that adjustment and take a live play. So I'm definitely with you on that one. I want to look at Rasmus Dahlin to get a point. I know it's pretty juicy at this point. He's hit it in 8 of 10 games, and Philadelphia ranks 24th defensively in the entire league. Rasmus Dahlin being a defenseman, people might say, well, how often is he in the offensive zone? What is he doing exactly offensively? Defensemen, to me, are some of the best props to bet on right now because you're still getting better numbers. If this was a forward, this to me, Carm, I know it's not like me to just love a minus 155 or 160, but if it was a forward, would be minus 200, minus 220. In fact, it probably would be over 1.5 points. But the fact that it's a defenseman, excuse me, got a tickle in my throat, you get over 0.5 points, which I think is a really good number here. But the last time these two teams play, I talked about it, and I agree with it again. Stand by what I said. The analytical numbers will tell you that Buffalo is a far better team and the chances they're creating based on shooting percentage and just where they're shooting the puck from. Philadelphia was overachieving to start the season off, and their defense isn't getting better anytime soon. I'm not going to be thrown off by the fact they've played recently. I think Buffalo's the play yet again. But this time around, I want to look at their team total, over 3.5 goals. Look for them to get me to 4 goals. Look for this game to be an exciting one. Like I said, this Philadelphia Flyers team ranks very low as far as their defensive ratings, 24th shots on goal allowed, 26th in shot attempts allowed. A team that just gives up a ton of chances, man. So I like the player point prop on Rasmus Dahlin, and I like the team total over for the Buffalo Sabres.
I like it. Andrew, I didn't even think about the team total on the Sabres. So that's a good point as well on that one. They're going to have more shots on goal tonight than 15. It'd be hard not to have more shots on goal after a 15. Matt J in our live chat actually mentioned, he put a thing there that the Sabres are wearing their black unis tonight. And last year they were 10-1-1. I'm just going off of what he wrote, so we'll see. I love the black unis and stuff like that, but we'll see how they do tonight because this will be the first of back-to-back games for the Sabres. So I know that they want to get a W here before they head up the QEW, which is the Queen Elizabeth Way, to take on the Toronto Maple Leafs tomorrow. And we'll have that in the 6 and 60 segment, Andrew, at the end of the show.
Well, actually, let's talk about that for a second, Carm, because I think it's important for people out there looking at kind of look ahead spots. What do they say on Bet On It? They're going to they're going to make a sandwich. Marco loves his sandwiches to go to the deli. Is this kind of a spot where Buffalo they came out victorious the last time around? A big, hockey night in Canada game tomorrow against Toronto. Is it a game they might not be up for, or is it too early in the season to look at? Because if anything, I feel like that probably benefits the over. I still think Buffalo will get their goals. Maybe they're not as focused defensively, but let's not kid ourselves. They know who they're playing tomorrow. It's definitely on their mind.
Yeah, the Sabres, listen, so anytime Toronto and Buffalo play, it's always on their mind. The Sabres 2 years ago, I think, won 3 to 4 games against the Leafs. Last year, I'm not sure. I think last year they split out. I'm not sure of what the record was last year, but they're always good games because um, it's a close rivalry, kind of like the Toronto Montreal ones. But they're always home games for the Leafs, whether it is in Buffalo or whether it's in Toronto. You watch the games in Buffalo, and if you're watching on TV, all you see is blue Leaf jerseys in the lower bowl. They buy up all the tickets from season ticket holders who sell them at a premium because it is actually cheaper to go watch the Leafs in Buffalo than to watch them in Toronto. That's just the way it is. People make the trip, 60 minutes or 90 minutes to get to Buffalo, watch the game, and pay. Even with the exchange, you're paying less to watch the Leafs with good seats than you are to watch them at home. It's $1,000 on the glass in Toronto to watch the Leafs play. You can get tickets to the Sabres game when they play the Leafs probably for about $250 on the glass. US, you add 30%, and now you're at the 3.25. It's an
Carm, you can
easy
probably get
decision.
season tickets to the Arizona Coyotes for $1,000 American.
Eh, yes, I wouldn't want to
Who
watch
knows?
the Arizona Coyotes, at least not for a couple of years. They're a team that's growing and trust the process. They say, isn't that what they said in Philadelphia? Trust the process. Anyways, before my
They are a
producer
lot
cuts me
better than
off,
they
Andrew,
used to
let's go to
be.
the next
That's
game.
for sure. So let's jump into the New Jersey Devils and St. Louis Blues here,
I'm
Carm.
being threatened
Um,
in my earpiece.
yeah. No Philadelphia 76ers talk here. Come on, we can't be shaming. At least Harden's out of the way. I mean, that's hopefully a good thing. But before
They
we jump
crushed
into
the
that,
Raptors
guys,
yesterday.
yeah, I know they own us, unfortunately. Let's remind everybody out there, please, if you're watching, guys, we got that Friday mode right now. There's 2 games. We're having some fun here on the show, but do us a favor, show some love, hit the like button. Do Carmen and I a favor. Let's get more likes on this show today than on WagerTalk today. All right, want to beat Prez today. Get more likes for us on PuckTime than WagerTalk today. Help promote our show. We really do appreciate all of you guys being in the live chat every single day. Carm, I've fallen in love with the team totals. If things don't work out with the lady I'm with right now, team totals will have to be, I'll have to marry them because you know what? They keep cashing tickets. They keep winning. The Devils, again, go over 3.5 goals, man. Even if they don't win games, they're going over team totals. And yet we're playing a St. Louis Blues team that I think has a shaky blue line. They give up a ton of chances. We talk about goals saved above average. I think Binnington and company, the goaltenders for the Blues, might be overachieving a little bit here. It's a back-to-back. I get it. But at this point, one of my biggest weaknesses with NHL handicapping has not been learning to wash, rinse, and repeat. And a good example is fading San Jose. Should we continue to expect goals in games that involve the New Jersey Devils?
I can't see why not. One of my clients, Andrew, before I actually get into a couple things with this game, one of my clients said, or followers, anyways, on the X, sent me a message yesterday. I guess he watched the show and he had a question about the New Jersey one and whether taking the under in that game because they've gone over 8 straight times, and at some point they got to go under. And I'm like, I'm not going to get in front of a streak until I can see this team, the Devils, play 2 or 3 games, at least 2 or 3 games, a mini pack of games where they play a little bit better defensively, and the games are staying under the total. That I will start looking at totals for their games because I think they can play those type of games that stay under the number, kind of like what they did in the playoffs last season. But I haven't seen it, so I said I'm on the over. I'm taking the over, and that one went and it went over the total, and I just can't see a reason not to. They played 9 games this year. Every single game's gone over the total. Even when they put a total at 7 against the Sabres, it finished 5-4. They are defying logic of totals betting that you can almost blindly click on the over in their games. I just don't get it. At some point, it's going to change, but the back to backs never really worry me with some teams because some teams have very good records on back to backs. Colorado is one of them. Colorado last year was a very good team with back to backs. Last year, when you look at a team like, let's say, like New Jersey, last year on they averaged 1.366 points per game, right? So by points, I mean if you take what they finished with in points and divide it by 82 games, it was 1.366. On no days rest, they averaged a point and a half gained, which is second only to on 2 days rest, where they gained 1.63, I think it is, or no, 1.58 points per game. So that tells you that the majority of their points last year came on either back to backs or on 2 days rest. Their lowest numbers were on 1 day's rest, where they were below their threshold of 1.36. So it's an interesting thing. You look at teams. Colorado is a very good team. I think they only lost three back-to-back games. So these are teams with depth, teams that can skate, teams that are quick, are a lot better on back-to-backs because even if there's a slight regression in the team, if they're playing a slower team, they're going to beat that team. I think they're going to beat that team up still. And St. Louis is just, as Prez said, Prez made a good point of this one. St. Louis is just a slow team, and they're going to suffer because of it this year. They're not going to make the playoffs. I like the total here again. St. Louis is going to have to contribute at some point, but 9 in a row. Tonight could be the first under, but 9 in a row. I'm good. Let's go for 10 in a row. I have no problem with you calling me a square, Andrew. It is like 9 in a row. I'm not going to get in front of that, try and catch a falling knife or get in front of that train. Let's go for 10 in a row tonight.
Carm, the only thing I'm going to call is call you Sunday morning to see what you have in the NFL after you crushed it last week and I forgot to give you a ring. So that's the only thing I'm going to call is your phone to give you a ring and find out what you're betting, what Carm is cooking for this week. There's no square bets, man, if it keeps hitting. Okay, someone probably 4 games ago in the Devils games called people squares for betting the overs. Didn't happen. What about 5 games ago? Square. 6 games. It hasn't happened. You know what? A squares win. It's like I've been saying on Prop It Up sometimes. The obvious play hits sometimes. And you know what? A.J. Brown for the Eagles has been the obvious play over the last 4 or 5 weeks. It keeps on hitting. So those aren't square plays. They're good bets.
No, it's like the adage, I can't see the forest through the trees or what have you. But you look at it and like the 2 obvious ones, if you were just taking and I've taken them a few times, I just haven't done it every single game. If you're taking any team playing the San Jose Sharks and you take them on the puck line, you've cashed pretty much every ticket but one. If you took every New Jersey over, you've cashed 9 tickets. It is absolutely insane. You beat up a ton of money. It's just sometimes we're looking for something and looking past winners, and these have been winners. You've got to play them. It's just like back in the day with the first period overs before books started to get creamed on them. You know, I mean, I remember Alex Smith talking about like the Chicago overs, and there was a great run of Chicago overs, like 16 in a row, and then books started to juice it at 180. There was always at 130, 140. You know, I always want to mention guys who do other things that aren't part of Wager Talk, and like the guy Chris Otto, who's sometimes in our chat. I think he's PSU Otto on Twitter. he puts up stuff on first period totals and the over and unders and or the team's hit rates. The guy's doing God's work. I couldn't do that, but these are guys that you want to look at and you want to follow because they're doing a lot of the homework that people don't want to do before they bet. And you got to do your homework, or else you're just giving money away at the end, unless you get lucky. But I digress, Andrew. I'm going to throw it back to you.
I feel like, Carm, we should get like a whiteboard or like some type of like notepad, and collectively we'll just keep track of streaks together. We'll just like we'll go into a show and be like, well, we'll have like a 20-minute phone call and just be like, okay, this guy has gone 8 straight games, shots on goal over. This team has given up X amount per game, because sometimes simplifying it is the best. And everybody out there knows we follow hockey like all the time. We watch every game. And sometimes I think that when you watch it so close, you almost try and make the difficult play. And I'll speak for myself. You almost try and pick, like yesterday, I had a play, as you know, on the Carolina and New York Rangers game. Again, I lose betting against the Rangers. The Rangers red hot, 5 straight wins. But for some reason, I leave off Vancouver puck line, right? So I took a play on a pick'em that was a close game and tight one, and yet don't fade the worst team in the entire league, because in the back of my head, I'm telling myself, eventually they should play well. No, they're not playing well eventually. They stink. And I don't want to focus on eventually. I want to focus on the right now. And speaking of the right now, talk about those first period overs. Well, Carm, you're right. They are juiced, especially with 6.5s as totals, 7s. However, I'm going to go back to the bet that I've been giving out, and it's been working here on the show. And most people with domestic books are able to bet this. I know you and I can bet it at the books we use too. Plus 130, both teams to score in the first period. If there's ever an opportunity for the Blues to get off to a good start, I think it might be catching this Devils team off guard early, coming in with speed. After 2 embarrassing efforts out of the Blues, their last 2 games, the first period is very important. I feel like they have to get on the board. And this Devils team, between Tyler Toffoli, between Jack Hughes, between Timo Meier, this team is firing right now. They're scoring goals in the first period. So you're taking an over 1.5 that is currently listed at minus 166 at DraftKings into a plus 130 price for both teams to score. I really like that one, Carm, and something I'm definitely betting. And then there's a huge list of prop bets that you can kind of just go over streaks. 8 of last 9 games, Timo Meier has gone under 3.5 shots on goal. Lots of mouths to feed in New Jersey. So many talented players. So for one of their talented players to get 4 shots, that takes a lot. Looking at a guy in Jordan Kyrou, he's gone under 3.5 shots on goal in 6 of his last 8 games. And then, of course, you talk about a guy like Tyler Toffoli at plus 120. He's going over his number in 5 of his last 6 games. You're getting a plus price. That's what I'm looking for when I'm looking at shots on goal. And I have one more that I have saved for my best bet on the show. It's an under, and it's a 1.5 shots on goal prop. We'll get to that in just a second. But Carm, if you are ready, we'll go to you for the 6 in 60.
So again, before our producer hits that buzzer and we get going, these are the early lines. WagerTalk live lines do not have Saturday's games up, but I expect them to be up shortly. Usually DK is the first one to get them out, and then they start to pop out after that. I got these numbers off of another book, Bet Rivers, up here in Canada. So that is what I am using for this one. So if there's any discrepancy between these numbers today and what you see tomorrow at game time, it's only going to be mere cents on the dollar. I think these are pretty accurate numbers. With that said, if we hit 4 out of 6, last week we went 3 and 3, not very good. It was better than the week before. 4 out of 6, leave a comment in the video below once it is posted. And it could be any comment, man. We appreciate you guys, even the ones that give us a hard time. I love it. 4 out of 6, I will yank a name, the funniest comment, whatever, and you guys will get a PuckTime t-shirt. So 4 out of 6 is all we need to hit, but I want to hit 6 out of 6. With that said, my man, producer Dan, hit that button. All right, Nashville and Edmonton. I'm going to take over 6.5. 6-1 was the score when these two teams played in Nashville. Oilers still have plenty of defensive issues and goaltending issues, so over 6.5. Toronto and Buffalo. I'm going to take the Leafs in regulation time. They played much better in Boston, lose it in a shootout, and get the Sabres in the second of a back-to-back. Montreal and St. Louis. Montreal plus 115. They get St. Louis on the second of a back-to-back. And Montreal's a feisty team. I can see them getting the win there. Andrew's celebrating. Dallas and Vancouver. I'm going to take Dallas minus 114. They got a Vancouver team that scored 10 goals. They're not going to score 10 against Dallas, and Dallas is having a very, very good road trip. Colorado minus 105 in Vegas. It's the mother's trip. The mother's trip is always a one where they want to play for their moms, and I'm taking Colorado beat Vegas. Calgary in Seattle plus 107. As bad as Calgary is, they always find a way to beat Seattle. That's your 6 and 60, guys.
Round of applause. Round of applause.
I beat it. I beat the clock.
You win a bunch of winners. That's your prize, Carm. You get to have some winners on Saturday.
It's funny because when you guys hear me say mother's trip, what I mean about that is every team has a father's trip and a mother's trip. It's usually like a road trip. Well, I sent a message to Andrew and Dave Koken the other day because Colorado was at home. They were playing the St. Louis Blues, and I'm watching the game. They were talking about the mom's trip, and I thought it started in Vegas, but it actually started that night where they bring in all the moms. They're put in like the VIP suites. They get to watch their kids play, and then they take them on the road. So that it started with that game against St. Louis, in which they won 4-1. Now they go to Vegas tomorrow, and then they've got the Sunday off, so they get to spend time with their moms on Sunday as well too. And it seems teams play better. I don't know why. I don't know why it is. I wish there was some record tracking for this. When it's a dad's trip, when it's a mom's trip, the teams play better for some reason. I don't get it, Andrew. I get it. You don't want to lose in front of your mom, but
Nobody. You don't want to play bad in front of your mom.
Look at
your mom's what got you there. You don't want to play bad in front of your mom.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. So, and they're only minus 105. Vegas is minus 115. So you would think, this Vegas team just doesn't want to lose any games, kind of like Boston in regulation doesn't want to lose any games. But there's a team that can do it. It would be Colorado, I would think. So let's see if the mom's betting angle works. I wouldn't make it part of your regular routine like the zigzag and all the other ones. And then, as ugly as Calgary is right now, I think they've lost 6 in a row. They always seem to play well against Seattle. Even last year, amidst a bad season for Calgary, they went into Seattle and they beat them. So we'll see what happens with that one because the Kraken are playing well as well too and come off a win last time out against Nashville. So, and I took your Montreal Canadiens. I'm fading a couple teams on back-to-backs, teams that are playing tonight, Sabres and St. Louis. I'm fading them tomorrow, so we'll see. 4-6, guys. Come on, man. It's all I ask for. Hey, God, it's me. All right.
And I'll have an Every Game on the Board podcast up. It's very similar to Carm 6 and 60. I blast through every game. Very minimal analysis, but get through every single game. I'll have a great promo code for the weekend for a 3-day pass if anybody's interested in that. That'll be over at WagerTalk TV as well. Carm, I'm excited for this weekend, man. I don't have just one. I have 2 5% plays going. One in CFL, one in NFL action. So I'm hoping for a big weekend. We got 2 5% football plays. Plus, I'll be involved on the ice in hockey. And there's even a UFC event to jump into. So lots of action on deck, getting prepared. And the clients will be ready to go with all kinds of plays. So guys, join me, of course, over at WagerTalk.com. My best bet, this is a streak that I found. We talk, Carm, all show about keeping it simple, looking at these streaks and capitalizing. Well, Kevin Hayes, third line center for the St. Louis Blues, has gone under 1.5 shots in 8 straight games. Every single game that Kevin Hayes has been a part of so far this season, he has gone under 1.5 shots on goal. The market has not made adjustments. It's at plus 110 here for this guy to get less than 1.5. And no, let's be real here. A lot of these games, he has gotten exactly 1 shot, but there hasn't been one game so far where he's gone over. And you know how bad the St. Louis Blues offense is? Well, if you think San Jose is bad, which they are, the St. Louis Blues rank 32nd, dead last in the league in shots on goal per game. They're struggling to shoot the puck. So do you guys think that their third line center will be the guy to pick things up shooting wise? I certainly don't. So this is kind of a diamond in the rough play, Karma, riding a streak, 8 straight games under 1.5 SOG plus 110 for Kevin Hayes. What do you have for us, Carm?
All right. Like it, Andrew. I'm taking a shot prop total. I'm going to go over. You know, it's weird because I talked about the shot prop yesterday with Evan Rodriguez, and in his 6, he was 6-2 going into last night. In his 6, he scored, or he had 4 more shots on goal, either 4 or 5 shots on goal. And in the 2, it was no shots on goal both games. It was feast or famine. Well, what does he end up with yesterday? 0 shots on goal. It was famine yesterday. Thanks, Evan, for ruining my streak. So let's try for 12 in 14 now with this, or 13 and 15 with this. I'm not sure. Anyways, let's go with this one here. I am going to go. I'm going to back to this New Jersey game because Jack Hughes, a guy who normally gets a ton of shots on goal, has gone under the total 3 straight times. But fewer his last couple of games, fewer minutes on the ice, fewer shifts. I expect him to be a bigger part of the game, especially because he was -1 yesterday in a game that they won. Jack Hughes over 3.5 shots on goal, -140. We're going to close out this week with a shot prop winner. This one's going to hit, guys. At least I hope it does. Jack Hughes over 3.5, -140. I have 3 big Premier League games going on Saturday that's loaded up. An NFL 3-pack, number 1 in NFL at WagerTalk last 30 days, on a really great run as well. NHL play up tonight, guys. The 5% play. I've had 2 this year. Both of them have won. So let's see if we can make it 3-0 with another 5% winner. And then we're gonna have NHL on Saturday. So pick up that 3-day all access package. Get every single play: NFL, NHL, soccer, college football. Let's have a monster weekend, guys. And I really appreciate you guys tuning in each and every week and commenting both in the live chat and in the video below afterwards.
Awesome stuff. 5% play tonight for Carmine, guys. Don't miss it. And some great plays tomorrow in the Premier League. So between the two of us, it's going to be a jam-packed weekend. Great show, Carm. Always love doing these shows. And it was a good Friday show with just 2 games, 6 and 60. A lot of good plays given out. And thank you all for watching, guys. Best of luck this weekend. We'll see you back here on Puck Time on Monday.